Looks like a hot tub and a cocktail matter more than the man who pays for them.
I sent my birthday invites first. 2 weeks later, my brother Dave announced his BBQ party on the same day, naturally. Not a single person from my family came to my birthday, not even my wife Amanda and daughter Krista. They went on vacation together instead. So there I was, 41 years old, sitting alone in my kitchen with a store-bought chocolate cake and a single candle that refused to stay lit. The irony wasn't lost on me. I owned Dwyer's Hardware, a business that had been in my family for 3 generations, and I couldn't even keep a birthday candle burning. "Happy birthday to me," I muttered, cutting myself a slice that was probably too big for one person, but exactly right for a man whose family had abandoned him for his brother's superior social planning. My phone buzzed. Amanda's name lit up the screen with a text. "Call me. Urgent." I stared at the message for a moment, fork halfway to my mouth. In 20 years of marriage, Amanda had never once interrupted her precious mother-daughter bonding time with Krista to contact me. This had to be good. I dialed her number, and she picked up on the first ring. "Rick? Oh God, Rick, we're at the hospital." My fork clattered to the plate. "What happened? Are you hurt? Is Krista—" "We're both sick. Really sick. The doctor says we caught something." "Food poisoning? I told you not to eat at those tourist traps." "No, Rick, not food poisoning." Her voice dropped to a whisper. It's an STD." The words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I set down my cake and leaned back in my chair, processing what my wife of 20 years had just told me. "An STD," I repeated slowly. "Both of you, yes, on your mother-daughter vacation." "Rick, please don't—" "So let me get this straight, Amanda. You and our married daughter both came back from what was supposed to be a relaxing spa weekend in Miami, with infections typically transmitted through intimacy?" Silence. "Amanda?" "The medical bills are going to be expensive," she said finally. "Can you call the insurance company tomorrow?" I hung up. My phone immediately started ringing again, but I ignored it. Instead, I sat there staring at my pathetic birthday cake, trying to wrap my head around what had just happened. My wife and daughter, my married daughter, had both cheated on their respective husbands during the same vacation. The vacation they'd chosen over my birthday. My family tree had officially become a weeping willow. The phone rang again. This time it was Evan, my son-in-law. Poor kid. He was only 25, married to Krista for just 2 years, and probably had no idea what was coming. "Hey, Rick." Evan's voice was shaky. "Did Krista call you?" "No, but Amanda did. Are you okay?" "I don't know, man. Krista just told me she needs to go to the doctor when she gets back. She says she might have caught something, but she won't tell me what or how." He paused. "She's acting really weird about it." I closed my eyes. "Evan, I think you should sit down. I'm already sitting. Then maybe pour yourself a drink." 20 minutes later, after I'd explained what Amanda had told me, Evan was quiet for a long time. "So they both—" "Looks that way. On the same trip? Apparently." Jesus Christ, Rick. What kind of family did I marry into? "The kind that makes my hardware store look like a beacon of moral integrity," I said. "And that's saying something, considering I once caught Mrs. Henderson trying to shoplift a toilet plunger." Despite everything, Evan laughed. It was a bitter sound, but it was something. "What are we going to do?" he asked. I looked at my abandoned birthday cake, at the single candle that had finally given up and gone out, at the empty chairs where my family should have been sitting. "I don't know yet," I said, "but I'm done being the last to know everything." After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen for another hour, thinking. Amanda would be home tomorrow, full of excuses and explanations, and probably expecting me to just accept whatever story she'd concocted. She'd want me to pay the medical bills, comfort her, and pretend this was all some terrible misunderstanding. But I'd spent 20 years being the understanding husband, the reliable provider, the man who fixed everyone else's problems while they went off and created new ones. I'd spent 20 years coming in second to my brother Dave, watching my own family choose his parties over my birthdays, his opinions over my advice, his charm over my steady reliability. I was done with all of it. I picked up my phone and started scrolling through Amanda's social media. She'd been posting photos all weekend. Cocktails by the pool, shopping trips, spa treatments with Krista. They looked happy and relaxed, like they didn't have a care in the world. Like they certainly weren't thinking about the husband and father they'd left behind. But now I knew what those photos didn't show. I knew about the hospital visit, about the medical bills that would arrive next week, about the lies they'd have to tell to explain their spa weekend infections. I wiped cake frosting from my fingers and made a decision. It was time they learned what real pain felt like. The next morning, I opened Dwyer's Hardware at 7:30 sharp, same as I had every day for the past 15 years. But everything felt different now. The familiar smell of paint and wood stain, the sound of the old cash register, even the way the morning light hit the display of garden tools, it all seemed sharper, more focused. Maybe it was because I finally had a purpose beyond just surviving another day. My first customer was Mrs. Patterson, looking for weather stripping for her back door. As I helped her find what she needed, she chatted about the neighborhood gossip. "Did you hear about the Henderson's son?" she asked, examining a package of foam strips. "Caught his wife cheating with their marriage counselor. Can you imagine? The very person who was supposed to help them work things out." "That's terrible," I said, though privately I was thinking that at least the Henderson boy had only been betrayed by one person, not his entire family. "These days you just can't trust anyone," Mrs. Patterson continued. "My Harold always says, the people closest to you are the ones who can hurt you the most." Harold was a wise man. After Mrs. Patterson left, I called my most reliable employee, Tommy Kowalski. Tommy had been working for me for 8 years, ever since he graduated high school. He was loyal, discreet, and had a talent for noticing things other people missed. "Tommy, I need you to come in early tomorrow," I said when he answered, "and I need you to keep something between us." "Sure thing, Mr. Dwyer. What's going on?" "I'll explain tomorrow. Just, if anyone asks, you don't know anything about anything." "Got it." At lunch, I drove home to check on things before Amanda returned. The house felt empty and cold, like it had been abandoned for months instead of just a long weekend. I went straight to Amanda's home office, a converted bedroom where she handled her work as an HR manager for a mid-sized insurance company. Her desk was neat and organized, just like always, but Amanda had never been as careful with her digital security as she was with her physical space. I knew her laptop password because she'd asked me to set it up for her 2 years ago and never bothered to change it. Krista 2001, our daughter's name and birth year. It took me less than 5 minutes to find what I was looking for. Amanda's email was full of messages from someone named Felix Grant, Dr. Felix Grant, according to his signature line, a dermatologist with an office in the upscale part of town. The messages went back 3 months, starting professionally enough. Amanda had apparently consulted him about some skin issues, but quickly becoming more personal, much more personal. I scrolled through the messages, my anger building with each exchange. Felix was married, just like Amanda. He had 2 kids, just like Amanda. And he apparently had no problem discussing intimate details about his relationship with my wife, including their plans for a romantic weekend in Miami. The same Miami trip Amanda had told me was a mother-daughter spa vacation. I kept reading. Felix had paid for their hotel room. He'd bought Amanda expensive jewelry I'd never seen her wear. He'd even sent her money to cover her expenses for the trip, money that came from an account I didn't recognize. But the worst part was what they said about me. "Rick is so boring," Amanda had written. "He comes home from that dusty hardware store every day and wants to talk about paint sales and broken lawnmowers. Sometimes I feel like I'm married to a janitor." Felix's response: "You deserve so much more than that, darling. A woman like you should be with someone who appreciates your sophistication." My sophistication. Right. The sophistication that led her to cheat on her husband with a married doctor and bring our daughter along as cover. I printed out the most damaging emails and saved copies to a flash drive. Then I checked Amanda's bank statements, which she kept in a folder marked Household Finances, a folder I'd never bothered to look at because I trusted my wife to handle our money responsibly. That trust had been misplaced. Amanda had opened a separate checking account 6 months ago. She'd been depositing money from Felix, but she'd also been transferring funds from our joint savings account. Money I'd earned working 60-hour weeks at the store. According to the statements, she'd spent over $8,000 on clothes, jewelry, and travel expenses related to her affair. $8,000 of my money used to fund her betrayal. I was still sitting at her desk, staring at the bank statements, when I heard a car pull into the driveway. Amanda was home. I quickly shut down the laptop and stuffed the printed emails into my jacket pocket. By the time Amanda walked through the front door, I was in the kitchen, making myself a sandwich like nothing had happened. "Rick," she called out. "I'm home." "In here," I replied, keeping my voice neutral. She appeared in the doorway looking tired and guilty. Her usually perfect hair was disheveled, and she wasn't wearing any makeup. She looked like someone who'd spent the weekend doing things she shouldn't have been doing. "How are you feeling?" I asked. "Better." The doctor gave me some antibiotics. She sat down across from me at the kitchen table. "Rick, about what I told you on the phone. You mean about you and Krista both catching STDs on your spa vacation?" She flinched. "It's not what you think." "Really? What is it then?" "There was a hot tub at the hotel. The staff said it might not have been properly maintained. Sometimes you can catch infections from—" "Amanda," she stopped talking. "Do you really think I'm that stupid?" For a moment, she looked like she might tell me the truth. But then her expression hardened, and I saw the Amanda I'd been living with for the past few years. The woman who thought she was smarter than everyone around her. "I don't know what you're implying, Rick, but I don't appreciate your tone. I'm the victim here. I'm the one who got sick." "Right. You're the victim." I took a bite of my sandwich. "How's Krista doing?" "She's fine. Evan's taking care of her." "I bet he is. Does he know how she got sick?" Amanda's jaw tightened. "She told him the same thing I told you, about the hot tub. And he believed that? Why wouldn't he?" I nodded slowly. "Why wouldn't he indeed?" We sat in silence for a few minutes. Amanda kept glancing at me like she was trying to figure out what I was thinking. If she'd known me at all after 20 years of marriage, she would have known that I was thinking about revenge. "The medical bills are going to be expensive," she said finally. "Dr. Martinez wants to see me again next week, and Krista needs follow-up tests." "How expensive? Maybe $1,500 after insurance?" $1,500, on top of the $8,000 she'd already stolen from our savings to fund her affair. "That's a lot of money," I said. "I know, but what choice do we have? We can't just ignore this." "No," I agreed. "We definitely can't ignore this." She seemed relieved that I was being reasonable. "I knew you'd understand. You always do." After she went upstairs to shower, I called Evan. "How's Krista?" I asked. I don't know, Rick. She keeps insisting it was a hot tub infection, but I looked it up online. The symptoms don't match." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know. I want to believe her, but—" He trailed off. "This is going to sound crazy, but I've been thinking about hiring a private investigator." "That's not crazy at all." "Really?" "Evan, let me ask you something. Do you want to know the truth, or do you want to keep living with the doubt?" "I want to know the truth." "Then don't hire a private investigator. They're expensive, and they might not find anything useful." I paused. "But I might know another way." "What do you mean?" "Meet me at the store tomorrow after closing. And Evan, don't tell Krista we talked." That night, Amanda tried to seduce me. She put on her best nightgown, the one she usually saved for special occasions, and climbed into bed next to me with that look in her eyes that used to make me forget all my troubles. But I couldn't forget. Not this time. "I'm tired," I said, rolling over to face the wall. "Rick, come on. I've been gone all weekend." "Don't you miss me?" "Miss her?" "I miss the woman I thought I'd married, the one who existed before I learned she was capable of stealing my money to fund her affair with a married doctor." "I'm just tired, Amanda. It's been a long day." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "Are you mad at me about something? Should I be?" "No, of course not. You seem different." I was different. I was done being the understanding husband who accepted whatever scraps of affection and respect my family threw my way. But I wasn't ready to show her just how different I'd become. "I'm fine," I said. "Good night." She eventually gave up and went to sleep, but I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling and planning my next move. I had evidence of Amanda's affair, proof that she'd stolen our money, and a son-in-law who was ready to learn the truth about his cheating wife. It was a good start, but it was only the beginning. Evan showed up at the hardware store the next evening at exactly 6 o'clock, just as I was flipping the open sign to closed. He looked like he hadn't slept much, which made sense. Finding out your wife is a cheater tends to have that effect on people. "Come on back to the office," I said, leading him through the store to the small room behind the counter where I handled paperwork and inventory. Tommy was still there, organizing receipts from the day's sales. I'd filled him in on the basics, that my family had betrayed me and I needed help gathering information. Tommy had grown up in a rough neighborhood where loyalty meant everything, and the idea of a wife cheating on her husband disgusted him almost as much as it disgusted me. "Tommy, this is my son-in-law, Evan," I said. "Evan, Tommy's going to help us figure out what really happened in Miami." Evan shook Tommy's hand. Thanks for doing this. I feel like I'm going crazy. Don't thank me yet, Tommy said. Wait until you see what Mr. Dwyer found. I pulled out the printed emails and bank statements, spreading them across my desk. Evan's face went pale as he read through Amanda's correspondence with Dr. Felix Grant. Jesus, he whispered. She really did cheat. They both did, I said, and they used our money to do it. Evan picked up one of the bank statements. $8,000? That's just what I found in one account. There might be more. But why would Krista go along with this? Why would she cheat on me? Tommy snorted. Because she's her mother's daughter. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I shot Tommy a warning look, but Evan just nodded. You're probably right. I should have seen this coming. Krista's been different lately, distant, always on her phone, making excuses to go out with friends. When did it start? I asked. Maybe 3 months ago, right around the time she started talking about how we needed to expand our social circle and meet more successful people. He made air quotes with his fingers. She kept saying I needed to be more ambitious, more like the husbands of her friends. More like Dr. Felix Grant, I suggested. Probably. Evan slumped in his chair. God, I'm such an idiot. No, you're not. You're a victim. We both are. I gathered up the papers. But we don't have to stay victims. What do you mean? I mean, it's time they learned that actions have consequences. Over the next hour, I laid out what I'd discovered about Amanda's affair and her financial betrayal. Tommy contributed what he'd learned from asking around the neighborhood. Apparently, Amanda and Dr. Grant hadn't been as discreet as they thought. Several people had seen them together at restaurants and hotels around town. Mrs. Chen from the flower shop saw them at the Marriott downtown last month, Tommy reported. She said Amanda was wearing a dress that cost more than most people make in a week. A dress I probably paid for, I muttered. Evan was taking notes on his phone. So what's the plan? Phase 1 is gathering more evidence, I said. Tommy's going to help us document everything. Where they go, when they meet, what they spend money on. We need to build a complete picture of their betrayal. And then we make sure everyone knows what kind of people they really are. Tommy grinned. I like this plan. It's not about revenge, I said, though that wasn't entirely true. It's about justice. They've been lying to us, stealing from us, and humiliating us. They need to face the consequences. Evan nodded slowly. What do you need me to do? Keep acting normal around Krista. Don't let her know you suspect anything. But pay attention to everything she does and says. And if she goes out with friends, try to find out where she's really going. I can do that. Good. Tommy, I want you to start following Dr. Grant. Find out where he goes, who he meets with, what his routine looks like. But be careful. If he catches you, this whole thing falls apart. Don't worry, Mr. Dwyer. I grew up in the city. I know how to tail someone without being seen. We spent another 30 minutes working out the details. Tommy would handle surveillance during the day when I was running the store. Evan would monitor Krista's activities and report back to me. I would continue digging through Amanda's digital life, looking for more evidence of her betrayal. One more thing, I said as we were wrapping up. We need to be smart about this. No breaking laws, no violence, nothing that could get us in trouble. We're going to destroy them using nothing but the truth. The truth can be pretty destructive, Tommy observed. That's what I'm counting on. After Evan and Tommy left, I stayed at the store for another hour, planning our campaign. I made lists of people who needed to know about Amanda's affair. Her coworkers, our friends, the members of her book club. I researched Dr. Grant's background and found out he was married to a prominent local attorney named Patricia Grant. He had 2 teenage daughters and a reputation as a pillar of the community. That reputation was about to take a serious hit. I also started thinking about the financial aspect of Amanda's betrayal. $8,000 was a lot of money, but it wasn't enough to ruin us. However, if I could prove she'd been systematically stealing from our joint accounts to fund her affair, I might be able to get most of it back in a divorce settlement. Divorce. The word felt strange even thinking it, but I was starting to realize that my marriage was over. There was no coming back from this level of betrayal. Amanda had made her choice when she decided to cheat on me with a married doctor and drag our daughter into her web of lies. The only question now was how much damage I could do to them before they realized what was happening. I drove home around 9 o'clock, feeling more focused and energetic than I had in months. For the first time in years, I had a clear goal and a plan to achieve it. It felt good to be taking action instead of just accepting whatever my family threw at me. Amanda was in the living room, watching television and eating ice cream straight from the container. "You're late," she said without looking up from the screen. "Busy day at the store." She spooned more ice cream into her mouth. "Oh, I forgot to tell you. Krista called. She and Evan are having some problems." I sat down on the opposite end of the couch. "What kind of problems?" "She thinks he's being suspicious about her getting sick in Miami. He keeps asking questions about the timeline, about what we did each day." Amanda shook her head. "Men can be so paranoid." "Maybe he's just concerned about her health." "Maybe, but Krista thinks he doesn't trust her." She finally looked at me. "I told her that marriage requires trust. Without trust, you have nothing." The irony was so thick I could have cut it with a knife. "You're absolutely right," I said. "Trust is everything." "Exactly. I mean, we've been married for 20 years and we've never had trust issues, have we?" "Never," I lied. She smiled and went back to her ice cream and her television show. I sat there for a few more minutes, watching her and marveling at how easily she could lie to my face. She was sitting in our living room, eating ice cream I'd paid for, talking about trust and marriage, less than 24 hours after returning from a cheating vacation funded by my money. It was almost impressive, in a sociopathic sort of way. "I'm going to bed," I said, standing up. "Already? It's not even 9:30. Long day tomorrow." She nodded absently. "Good night, honey." "Honey." She called me honey while planning her next rendezvous with Dr. Felix Grant. I went upstairs and got ready for bed, but I wasn't tired. I was energized. For the first time in years, I had a purpose beyond just getting through another day of being taken for granted by my own family. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. And by the time I was finished, Amanda and Krista would understand exactly what they'd lost when they decided to betray the man who'd spent 20 years taking care of them. They wanted excitement? They wanted drama? I was about to give them more than they could handle. 3 days into our surveillance operation, Tommy hit the jackpot. "Mr. Dwyer, you need to see this," he said, bursting into the store Thursday morning with his phone in his hand. "I followed Dr. Grant yesterday evening, like you asked." I was helping a customer pick out paint for her bathroom, so Tommy had to wait until she left before he could show me what he'd discovered. The anticipation was ending both of us. "Okay, what did you find?" I asked as soon as we were alone. Tommy pulled up a video on his phone. "Grant left his office at 6:30 and drove to that fancy steakhouse downtown. You know, the one with valet parking. Morrison's? That's the one, but here's the thing. He wasn't meeting your wife." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "He was meeting another woman. A blonde, maybe 35, definitely not married based on the way she was all over him." Tommy showed me the video he'd taken through the restaurant window. They were holding hands across the table, kissing, the whole 9 yards. I stared at the screen, watching Dr. Felix Grant, the man who was supposedly in love with my wife, romance another woman. "Are you sure it wasn't just a business dinner?" "Business dinners don't usually involve tongue," Tommy said dryly. "I followed them after they left the restaurant. They went to the Hilton downtown and didn't come out for 3 hours." This was an interesting development. Dr. Grant wasn't just cheating on his wife with Amanda. He was cheating on Amanda with someone else. The man was running a regular harem. "Did you get pictures?" "Better. I got video." Tommy scrolled through his phone. "And I found out who she is. Her name's Jessica Reeves. She works at the bank where Grant has his business accounts." "How did you find that out?" "I followed her to work this morning. She's a loan officer at First National." I leaned against the counter, processing this information. Dr. Grant was even worse than I'd thought. He wasn't just a cheater, he was a serial cheater. And if he was lying to Amanda about being exclusive with her, then Amanda was just another conquest to him. This could work in my favor. "Tommy, you did great work. Keep following him, but be even more careful now. If he's juggling multiple affairs, he's probably paranoid about being caught." "Got it. What are you going to do with this information?" "I'm not sure yet, but I have a feeling it's going to come in handy." That evening, I called Evan to update him on Tommy's discovery and to find out what he'd learned about Krista. "She's definitely still seeing someone," Evan reported. "She went out last night, said she was meeting girlfriends for drinks, but I called her friend Sarah to see if she wanted to join them, and Sarah had no idea what I was talking about." "Where did she really go?" "I don't know. She was gone for 4 hours and came home smelling like expensive cologne, not the kind I wear." "Did you confront her?" "No, I'm following your advice, acting normal, gathering evidence." He paused. "But it's ending me, Rick. Every time she lies to my face, I want to just explode and tell her I know what she's doing." "Don't, not yet. We need more information before we make our move. What kind of information? Well, for starters, we need to find out who Krista's seeing. If it's not Dr. Grant, then she's got her own affair going. How do we find that out? I thought about it for a moment. Leave that to me. I have an idea. The next day was Friday, which meant Amanda would be staying late at work for her weekly department meeting. It also meant I had a few hours to do some detective work of my own. I drove to Amanda's office building and parked across the street, where I could watch the entrance without being seen. At 5:15, employees started streaming out of the building. I recognized several of Amanda's coworkers, including her friend Tanya Rodriguez, a gossipy woman who knew everything about everyone in the office. Tanya was exactly the person I needed to talk to. I waited until she was walking to her car, then got out of my truck and approached her. "Tanya, it's Rick Dwyer, Amanda's husband." She looked surprised to see me. "Rick, what are you doing here?" "I was hoping I could ask you something about Amanda." Tanya's expression immediately became guarded. In my experience, when people suddenly look uncomfortable, it's because they know something they shouldn't. "What about Amanda?" "She's been acting strange lately, secretive. I'm worried about her." Tanya glanced around the parking lot like she was afraid someone might overhear us. "Rick, I don't think I should. Please, I'm her husband. If something's wrong, I need to know." She was quiet for a long moment, clearly wrestling with her conscience. Finally, she sighed. "Amanda's been different at work lately, more distracted. She's been taking a lot of personal calls and leaving early for appointments." "What kind of appointments?" "She says they're medical, but—" Tanya shrugged. "Look, Rick, I like you. You seem like a good guy, but I can't betray Amanda's confidence. I'm not asking you to betray anything. I just want to understand what's happening to my marriage." Tanya studied my face for a moment, then seemed to make a decision. "There's a doctor she's been seeing, Felix Grant. She talks about him a lot. Too much, if you ask me. And last week she showed me some expensive jewelry she said he gave her for being such a good patient." "Jewelry? A diamond bracelet. Must have cost thousands." Tanya lowered her voice. "Rick, I don't think their relationship is strictly professional." I nodded grimly. "Thanks for being honest with me. Are you going to confront her?" "Eventually. But first, I need to figure out how deep this goes." Tanya looked confused. "What do you mean?" "I mean, Amanda isn't the only one in my family who's been acting strange lately." I left Tanya standing in the parking lot and drove home, my mind racing. Amanda had been showing off expensive jewelry at work, jewelry she'd never shown me, which meant she was either hiding it at home or keeping it somewhere else. When I got home, Amanda's car wasn't in the driveway. According to her schedule, her department meeting should have ended an hour ago. I checked my phone, no messages explaining where she was. I had the house to myself. I went straight to Amanda's closet and started searching. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. A small jewelry box hidden behind her winter coats. Inside was the diamond bracelet Tanya had mentioned, along with matching earrings and a necklace I'd never seen before. The jewelry was beautiful and expensive, probably worth more than I made in 2 months at the hardware store. And it was all gifts from Dr. Felix Grant, according to the little cards tucked inside the box. "For my darling Amanda," one card read. "You make me feel alive again." Another, "Every time you wear these, think of me." And my personal favorite, "Your husband is a lucky man, but not as lucky as I am." I took pictures of everything with my phone, then put the jewelry box back exactly where I'd found it. Amanda would never know I'd discovered her secret stash, but she would find out soon enough that keeping secrets from me had been a mistake. My phone buzzed with a text message from Amanda. "Running late? Don't wait up." Running late from what? Her department meeting had ended hours ago. I texted back, "Everything okay?" "Fine, just grabbing dinner with Tanya." Interesting. I just talked to Tanya in the parking lot, and she'd been heading home to her family. She definitely wasn't having dinner with Amanda. Another lie. Another piece of evidence. I was starting to build quite a collection. That night, I lay in bed waiting for Amanda to come home. She finally walked through the door at 11:30, trying to be quiet so she wouldn't wake me up. But I was wide awake, listening to her move around downstairs, probably checking her appearance in the hallway mirror and making sure she didn't smell like another man. When she finally came to bed, she slipped under the covers without saying anything. "How was dinner with Tanya?" I asked quietly. She stiffened beside me. "It was nice. We went to that new Italian place." "Which one?" Marcello's." Marcello's had been closed for renovations for the past month. I knew because I'd driven past it every day on my way to work. "That's nice," I said. "Sleep well." But I knew she wouldn't sleep well. Liars never do. And tomorrow I was going to give her even more reasons to lose sleep. Saturday morning brought the first real test of my new resolve. Amanda announced over breakfast that she was going shopping with Krista, which I knew was code for meeting my lover while our daughter covers for me. "That sounds nice," I said, not looking up from my newspaper. "Where are you planning to go?" "The mall, probably. Krista needs some new clothes for work." "Which mall?" Amanda hesitated just long enough to confirm my suspicions. "Eastfield. They have that department store she likes." Eastfield Mall was 40 minutes away, which would give Amanda plenty of time to meet Dr. Grant, while Krista provided her alibi. It was a clever system. If anyone asked, they could both swear they'd been together all day. "Have fun," I said. "I'll probably spend the day at the store catching up on inventory." "On Saturday?" "Business has been good lately. I'm behind on paperwork." She seemed relieved that I'd be busy and out of the way. "Okay, I'll see you tonight." After Amanda left, I called Tommy and Evan. "It's showtime," I told them. "Amanda's meeting Grant today, and I want to catch them in the act." We met at the hardware store an hour later. I'd brought my digital camera, a good one I'd bought to photograph inventory for insurance purposes. Today, it would serve a different function. "What's the plan?" Evan asked. "Tommy's going to follow Dr. Grant from his house. I'm going to follow Amanda. We'll see where they meet and document everything." "What about me?" "You're going to follow Krista. I want to know if she's really providing her mother's alibi or if she's off having her own affair." Tommy had already located Dr. Grant's house, a massive colonial in the city's most expensive neighborhood. We drove there in separate cars and parked where we could watch the driveway without being obvious. At 10:30, Grant's garage door opened and his red sports car backed out. Tommy followed him while I went to find Amanda. I knew Amanda well enough to predict her moves. She'd drive to the mall first, just in case anyone was paying attention. She'd probably buy something small to have proof of her shopping trip. Then she'd meet Grant wherever they'd arranged to rendezvous. I was right. I followed Amanda to Eastfield Mall, where she spent exactly 20 minutes in a department store before coming out with a small shopping bag. Then she got back in her car and drove to the Marriott Hotel downtown, the same hotel where Tommy had seen Grant with his other girlfriend. My wife was meeting her lover at a hotel where he'd taken at least one other woman. The thought made my stomach turn, but it also strengthened my resolve. I parked across the street and called Tommy. "Where are you?" I asked. "Marriott downtown. Grant just went inside." "Same here. Amanda's walking in now." "Want me to go in and get pictures?" "No, too risky. Just wait and see how long they stay." While I waited, I called Evan. "Where's Krista?" "You're not going to believe this," Evan said. "She's at the mall, but she's not shopping. She's having lunch with some guy I've never seen before." "Can you get a picture?" "Already did. Tall, dark hair, expensive suit. They're holding hands across the table. So, she's cheating too. Looks like it. And Rick, they're at the same restaurant where you said Grant was with that other woman. Morrison's Steakhouse. It seemed to be the affair headquarters for my family. "Get as many pictures as you can," I told Evan, "but don't let them see you." I spent the next 2 hours sitting in my truck, watching the hotel entrance and thinking about how my life had fallen apart. 20 years of marriage reduced to surveillance and evidence gathering. A daughter I'd raised and supported, following in her mother's footsteps of betrayal and lies. But I also felt something I hadn't felt in years, clarity. For the first time, I knew exactly where I stood with my family. I knew what they really thought of me, what they were willing to do behind my back, how little my feelings mattered to them. It was liberating in a twisted way. At 1 o'clock, Amanda and Dr. Grant emerged from the hotel. They kissed goodbye in the parking lot, a long, passionate kiss that made me want to punch something. Then they got in their separate cars and drove away. I followed Amanda back to the mall, where she met Krista in the food court. They hugged and chatted like they'd been shopping together all morning, perfecting their alibi for anyone who might ask. My phone rang. It was Evan. "They're leaving Morrison's," he reported. "Krista's heading to the mall now." "I know. I'm watching her reunite with her mother. They're putting on quite a performance." "What do we do now?" "Now we go back to the store and plan our next move. We have everything we need." An hour later, the three of us were sitting in my office, reviewing the evidence we'd gathered. The pictures were damning. Amanda entering the hotel, Krista holding hands with her mystery man, Dr. Grant kissing my wife goodbye in broad daylight. "This is it," Tommy said. "This proves everything." "It proves they're cheating," I agreed. "But that's not enough. I want them to face real consequences." "What kind of consequences?" Evan asked. I'd been thinking about this for days, and I finally had a plan. Amanda works in HR, right? Her job depends on her reputation and her ability to counsel employees about professional behavior. How do you think her boss would react if he found out she was having an affair with a married doctor? "She'd probably get fired," Evan said. "At minimum, she'd be disciplined, maybe demoted." I turned to Tommy. "And Dr. Grant, he's a pillar of the community, right? Member of the country club, serves on charity boards, the whole thing. What happens to pillars when everyone finds out they are rotten?" Tommy grinned. "They fall down." "Exactly. But we need to be smart about this. We can't just send anonymous letters. That's too easy to dismiss. We need to make sure the right people see this evidence in a way that forces them to act on it." "How do we do that?" Evan asked. "Leave that to me. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I have some ideas." We spent another hour planning the details of what I was already thinking of as the reckoning. By the time we finished, I felt like a general preparing for battle, which, in a way, I was. When I got home that evening, Amanda was in the kitchen making dinner. She seemed relaxed and happy, probably still glowing from her afternoon with Dr. Grant. "How was shopping?" I asked. "Great. Krista found some beautiful clothes, and I picked up a few things too. She showed me the small shopping bag from the department store." "How was your day at the store?" "Productive. Very productive." She smiled and went back to cooking. "I'm making your favorite pot roast with potatoes." My favorite. She was making my favorite dinner after spending the afternoon in a hotel room with another man. "That's thoughtful," I said. "Well, I know I've been distracted lately. With work stress and everything, I wanted to do something nice for you." Work stress. That was one way to describe an extramarital affair. I appreciate that, Amanda. I really do. And I did appreciate it, in a way. She was giving me one last memory of what our marriage used to be like before I destroyed her life. It seemed only fair that it should be my favorite meal. We ate dinner together, talking about normal things, the weather, neighborhood gossip, plans for the weekend. Amanda was charming and attentive, asking about the hardware store and laughing at my jokes. For a moment, I could almost pretend that everything was normal. But then, I remembered the pictures on my camera, the evidence in my files, the lies she'd told me just that morning. And I remembered that this woman, the woman making small talk over pot roast, had stolen my money to fund her affair and turned our daughter into an accomplice. The moment of nostalgia passed. "This is delicious," I said, taking another bite. "You always were a great cook." "Thank you, honey. I'm glad you're enjoying it." Honey. There was that word again. "Amanda, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you ever think about what would happen if one of us had an affair?" She nearly choked on her food. "What? Why would you ask that?" "I don't know. I was talking to Jim Henderson today. You know, the guy whose son caught his wife cheating. He said the thing that hurt most wasn't the closeness, it was the lying. The way she looked him in the eye every day and pretended everything was fine." Amanda's face had gone pale. "That's terrible." "Yeah, he said he could have forgiven the affair maybe, but he could never forgive the lies." I met her eyes across the table. "What do you think? Could you forgive me if I lied to you every day for months?" "Rick, why are we talking about this?" "Just curious. Hypothetically." She was quiet for a long moment. I think lying is worse than cheating. At least cheating is honest about what it is, but lying means you think your partner is stupid enough to be fooled." "That's interesting. So the lying is what would hurt you most?" "Yes, definitely." I nodded thoughtfully. "Good to know." We finished dinner in relative silence. Amanda kept glancing at me like she was trying to figure out why I'd brought up adultery and lies, but she didn't ask any more questions. After dinner, she went upstairs to take a bath. I cleaned up the kitchen and then sat in my chair, thinking about what she'd said. The lying is what would hurt you most. Perfect, because Amanda had been lying to me every day for months, and tomorrow she was going to find out that I wasn't stupid enough to be fooled. Tomorrow, the lies would stop, and the consequences would begin. Sunday morning, I woke up early and made coffee while Amanda slept in. I had a busy day ahead of me, and I wanted to get started before she woke up and started asking questions. First, I uploaded all of our surveillance photos to my computer and organized them into folders. Pictures of Amanda and Dr. Grant at the hotel. Pictures of Krista with her mystery boyfriend. Pictures of Dr. Grant with his other girlfriend. Screenshots of Amanda's emails and bank statements. It was a comprehensive collection of evidence that painted a clear picture of betrayal, lies, and financial theft. Next, I started making copies. I burned everything onto multiple DVDs and flash drives, then printed out the most damaging photos and documents. By the time Amanda came downstairs for breakfast, I had enough evidence to destroy both her career and her reputation. "You're up early," she said, pouring herself coffee. "Couldn't sleep. Too much on my mind. Anything I can help with?" I looked at her standing there in her bathrobe, hair messy from sleep, looking like the woman I'd fallen in love with 25 years ago. For just a moment, I felt a pang of regret for what I was about to do. Then I remembered the $8,000 she'd stolen from our savings account, and the feeling passed. "Actually, there is something you can help me with," I said. "I need to understand why you've been lying to me." She froze with her coffee cup halfway to her lips. "What?" "The lies, Amanda. All the lies you've been telling me for months." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Really? You don't remember telling me you had dinner with Tanya Friday night? Because I talked to Tanya Friday evening and she was heading home to her family." Amanda's face went white. We changed our plans at the last minute." "To what? A romantic dinner with Dr. Felix Grant?" The coffee cup slipped from her hands and shattered on the kitchen floor. Coffee splashed everywhere, but neither of us moved to clean it up. "How did you—" She stopped herself, but it was too late. "How did I find out about your affair? Is that what you were going to ask?" She just stared at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "I found your emails, Amanda. I found your secret bank account. I know about the $8,000 you stole from our savings to pay for your affair. I know about the jewelry he bought you. The hotel rooms, all of it. Rick, let me explain." "Explain what?" "How you've been cheating on me for months while pretending to be a loving wife. How you turned our daughter into your accomplice. How you looked me in the eye every day and lied." Tears started running down her face. "It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think, and I have proof." I went to the counter and picked up one of the photo prints I'd made. Amanda and Dr. Grant kissing in the hotel parking lot. "This was taken yesterday, while you were supposedly shopping with Krista." Amanda looked at the photo and started crying harder. "Rick, please, I can explain everything." "I'm sure you can. You're very good at making up stories." I picked up another photo. "But can you explain this?" This photo showed Krista holding hands with her mystery boyfriend at Morrison's Steakhouse. Amanda's face crumpled. "Oh God, Krista. That's right. Your daughter learned from the best. She's been cheating on Evan the whole time you've been cheating on me." "How long have you known?" "Long enough to gather all the evidence I need for the divorce." The word divorce hit her like a physical blow. She actually staggered backward and had to grab the counter for support. "Divorce? Rick, no. We can work this out. I'll end it with Felix. I'll do whatever you want." "It's too late for that. Please. I made a mistake, but I love you. I've always loved you. You love my money. You love having someone to pay your bills while you run around with your boyfriend. But you don't love me." She was sobbing now, mascara running down her cheeks. "That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you chose me over someone else? When was the last time you put our marriage first?" I gestured toward the photos scattered on the counter. "You've been putting Dr. Grant first for months. I'll make it up to you. I swear I will." "How?" "By giving back the $8,000 you stole? By undoing all the lies you've told? By taking back all the nights you spent in hotel rooms with another man?" She didn't have an answer for that. My phone rang. It was Evan. "Excuse me," I told Amanda. "I need to take this." "Rick?" Evan's voice was shaky. I confronted Krista about the photos. She admitted everything. "How much is everything?" "She's been having an affair for 2 months with some guy named Marcus Webb. He's a lawyer, married, 2 kids. She met him at a bar and—" Evan's voice broke. "She said I was boring, that I didn't make enough money, that she deserved better than a marriage to a mechanic." I looked at Amanda, who was listening to my side of the conversation with growing horror. "I'm sorry, Evan, you deserve better than this. She wants to work it out. She says it was just a fling, that it didn't mean anything, but Rick, I can't get past it. Every time I look at her, I see her with that other guy. You don't have to get past it. You don't owe her forgiveness. What are you going to do about Amanda? I'm handling that right now. After I hung up, Amanda looked at me with desperate eyes. Was that Evan? What did he say? Krista confessed. Her affair partner is a married lawyer named Marcus Webb. She told Evan he was boring and didn't make enough money. Amanda closed her eyes. Oh, Krista, what have we done? We? You did this, Amanda. You taught her that lying and cheating were acceptable. You showed her how to betray the people who love her. I never meant for her to... What did you think would happen? Did you think she wouldn't notice that her mother was sneaking around with another man? Did you think she wouldn't learn from your example? Amanda slumped into a kitchen chair, still crying. I'm so sorry, Rick. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. What can I do? Tell me what I can do to fix this. I looked at her sitting there, destroyed and desperate, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no pity. Just a cold, empty feeling where my love for her used to be. You can't fix this, Amanda. It's over. Please don't say that. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. I'm going to tell everyone what you've done, your boss, your friends, your family. I'm going to make sure Dr. Grant's wife knows about his affairs. All of them. All of them? Did you think you were the only one? Dr. Grant has been cheating with at least 2 other women that I know of. You're just another conquest to him. The look of devastation on her face was almost satisfying. Almost. That's not true. Felix loves me. Felix is using you, just like you've been using me. I started gathering up the photos and documents. I'm going to Tommy's house for the rest of the day. When I come back tonight, I want you gone. Gone? Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Go to your sister's, go to a hotel, go to Dr. Grant's house and see how his wife reacts. Rick, please, this is my home too. Not anymore. You forfeited your right to this home when you decided to cheat on me with my money. I headed toward the door, then stopped and turned back. Oh, and Amanda? You might want to call in sick tomorrow, because by the time I'm finished, everyone at your office is going to know exactly what kind of HR manager they've been working for. I left her sitting in the kitchen, surrounded by broken coffee cups and broken dreams. It was the most satisfying exit of my life. But I wasn't finished yet, not even close. The real reckoning was just beginning.